Now, I would categorize these girls as pretty, cute, or sexy because you don't necessarily have to have the nicest face to get this treatment. If your body is really nice, you know what I'm saying, it'll make up for it. And with men, the body matters a lot. So they will treat a woman who, just to use numbers, I don't like to use numbers, but just to use numbers, a woman who is like, a 7 or whatever in the face and a 6 in the body will get the same treatment as a woman who's like, an 8 in the body, but maybe a 5 or 6 in the face, right? It's not an exact science, but essentially the body has a big part of attraction, which plays a big part in how men treat women. What up, YouTube? It's your boy Marv Over Matter back with another video, and today what I'm going to talk about are the levels of attractiveness or tiers of attractiveness for women, right? So typically I give male advice. I help men out with, dealing with women, specifically handsome men, how they basically get the most out of your looks. You have to understand, where you are on the ranking and then understand how women respond to a handsome man. And so I did a video on that, right? A video called How Ugly, Average, Pretty, and Beautiful Women Respond to a Handsome Man. And it did really, really well for me. But it also expanded my audience a little bit. And so a lot of women tuned in to see that video. And a lot of them were commenting and, they said that it resonated with them. They some of them even saying they learned a little bit about themselves from that video, which was really cool. But a lot of them were asking, me to do a video on levels of attractiveness for women because they can't really differentiate or determine what category to put themselves in. Because for a woman, it's a little bit harder to tell if you're actually attractive because even as an unattractive woman, you can get attention from men. So it's hard to just kind of go off of that. It's kind of hard to go off of your experiences, especially because a lot of times men just want sex. So they'll kind of, play along and maybe seem like they like a girl, even if they don't, right? That's not my style. That's not how I tell the guys to do it. But, some guys, that's how they do it. So with that being said, I'm going to talk about, some of the signs or some of the ways you'll know, your level of looks as a woman. Guys, I think this can be really helpful as well because I'm going to explain basically the experiences that some of these women have, and then that'll explain why they react a certain way to you when you're dealing with them. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of, I'm giving what I know from what I've learned, from what I've, observed and talked about with my female friends, kind of what I see based on how a girl looks. Now, obviously this is all subjective because I'm not the determining person on how a girl looks, but from what I've seen and what I've heard and that type of stuff, this is what I'll come up with, right? So here we go. Now, as an unattractive woman, you, like I said, you'll still have options, even as an unattractive woman, right? You'll have options and you may even sleep with attractive men as an unattractive woman. And that's part of the reason, like I said, why it can be very confusing because you're like, if I can get this attractive person, does that mean, that means that I must be somewhat attractive? And that's just not the case, right? So like I said, guys will look for sex. And we're very good at separating sex from, a relationship. And the threshold is much, much lower for us to have sex with a woman than it is for us to be in a relationship with a woman or even want to be seen, right? That's one of the signs that you're probably not an attractive woman. If, let's say, you can't have sex with a better looking guy, even an average guy, and he doesn't want to be seen out with you, right? He doesn't want to take you on dates. Everything you're doing is kind of like a sneaky link. It's kind of like, after dark, there's nothing really to the relationship besides sex. This person's not really trying to talk to you that much. Maybe they will if you feed them and you do all this other stuff, you'll get their time, but you have to be putting out a lot of effort to get their time. You always have to be doing something sexually or, taking care of them in some way, buying them things in order to keep them around. If that's your experience as a woman with attractive men or even average men, you're probably an unattractive woman. If you go out with your friends and you're never the one to really get hit on, you're never really the one to get attention when you're out, you're probably an unattractive woman. The men you'll be able to date are going to be guys that other women don't really find attractive, right? They don't really have options. Or you may be able to get some average guys with low self-esteem. You know what I'm saying? Guys who are just kind of like, I just want to date somebody, I just want to love somebody, and then you guys can connect more on like an emotional level, right? That'll be there if you're unattractive, but you won't really be able to get any perks or anything off of your looks, right? People will generally be, you know, either ignoring you, or they'll kind of like, you know, they might be, some people are just kind people, so they'll be nice to you, but, you know, some people might be mean to you. And you know what I'm saying? You'll see how they react to other girls who you might deem as prettier, and you'll see that they respond in a different way, right? And that'll be because they don't find you attractive, right? Now, moving on to average women, it's a big jump. And with this, there's categories to it, there's levels to it. I'm gonna keep it general. If you want another video that goes even more specific into each level, I can do that. But right now I'm just gonna do a general thing, because there's gonna be people like, well, what about this? What about that? I can't cover everything in one video. So this is, like I said, gonna be pretty general. So generally, as an average girl, obviously you're gonna have unattractive guys putting you on a pedestal, but you'll also have some average guys putting you on a pedestal as well. It'll kind of depend on that guy's experiences and, you know, his confidence and his, you know, how he sees him, how he views himself. But you'll have some guys putting you on pedestals. It won't be like guys put you on pedestals. It'll be like certain individual guys, like in this situation, oh, this guy did this. But generally in your life, that's not the case. Guys will hit on you, right? But it won't be like a consistent thing. It'll be like, oh, like one-offs, like, oh, this guy hit on me here, this guy hit on me here. Like, you'll have stories, but that won't be the general consensus. Like, that won't be what normally happens. It'll be an event, or it'll be like a moment when a guy hits on you, right? That'll be that. When you're out with your friends, if your friends are average, right, then it might be you that the guy's coming up to talk to. It might be your friends. You don't know, right? If you're hanging out with your pretty friends, you're probably not going to get hit on. You'll kind of feel the difference in the energy. If a group of guys comes up, they won't be as excited to talk to you as they are to talk to like your friends and this type of stuff. But you, like I said, you will have your pick of the litter with average guys. Guys will be doing things. If you end up talking to a guy, he's probably gonna try. He's probably gonna like want a relationship with you. Average guys. When you're dealing with attractive guys, they're probably gonna just want to sleep with you. Especially like if you're dealing with a very attractive guy, he'll probably just kind of want to sleep with you and not really do much else. You'll probably have a lot of one-night stands, because guys will, like I said, the threshold for having sex is not as high. So they will be definitely open to having sex with you. But after they have sex with you, they won't really be like attracted enough to want to come back oftentimes. This is just like the harsh truth, to be honest. And this is what I think girls don't understand. So I think this will be very helpful for y'all to kind of understand the way men think, so you can know how to kind of approach these situations in a better way. Because you might think that because you're getting the sexual attention and you're getting it so easily, that it means that, you know, you are attractive. But it's just because a lot of times guys, like I said, our threshold is just not as high. So we will have sex with women as long as they're not unattractive. A lot of guys, some guys will go and have sex with, you know, women they find unattractive, or that are generally unattractive, but maybe they find attractive. But if you're average and there's nothing wrong with you, a guy will have sex with you. So you're gonna have like situations where, you know, if you sleep with a guy, they may not come back because they weren't really that attracted, but they're the offer. If sex is there, they're gonna take it, type of thing. So that'll be another thing that happens at an average level. When you go out, you won't really get that much attention. Maybe if you dress up, you might get attention here and there. But typically, like, you're just kind of like, you're normal. You know what I'm saying? You're a normal person. You'll have more options and you'll be in a better position than an average guy, because women are not going to respond to an average guy the way men respond to an average woman, right? Because it's not as like, the threshold is just higher for what's going to attract you or for what you're going to be willing to have sex with, right? So it'll be a little bit different there. It'll be better. You'll be in a better position. But generally speaking, like, attention-wise, you're not going to get too much attention. And you're not going to get too many perks. Like, you'll notice like some guys here and there giving you some perks or putting you on a pedestal, but it won't be the general male population, right? Now with pretty women, this is where you move over into like, you're attractive now. So now you get the perks of your looks. Guys are going to be putting you on a pedestal. Guys are going to be going out of their way to try to get you to, you know, go to the bar, like get in the club for free, buying you drinks, doing all this type of stuff. This is where it's like you're an attractive girl. Now, I would categorize these girls as pretty cute or sexy, because you don't necessarily have to have the nicest face to get this treatment. If your body is really nice, you know what I'm saying, it'll make up for it. And with men, the body matters a lot. So they will treat a woman who, just to use numbers, I don't like to use numbers, but just to use numbers, a woman who is like, you know, a 7 or whatever in the face and a 6 in the body will get the same treatment as a woman who's like, you know, an 8 in the body, but maybe a 5 or 6 in the face, right? It's not an exact science, but essentially the body has a big part of attraction, which plays a big part in how men treat women, right? So if you're in this category, you know, pretty cute or sexy, like I said, you get those perks. When you're out with your friends, if your friends are average, you're gonna be always the one that the guys come up to. It'll be known, like, you know, when you're hanging out with these girls, a guy comes over, they'll be like, oh, here we go, he wants her. Your female friends may start cock blocking because they're tired of like you always being the one. They'll try to like claim you. That's kind of some behavior that might happen at this level. You'll notice that sometimes you'll get crazy reactions, so people calling you beautiful, gorgeous, whatever, but then most of the time you won't. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time you can just go in the public and it's a normal situation. But if you dress up, you're probably gonna get stopped, you're probably gonna get talked to, people are gonna be like looking at you, turning their heads, whatever. You'll probably get that stuff when you dress up though. If you're on social media, you'll be able to get a following if you do anything. Like if you do anything, you'll be able to get a following. But if you're trying to just make a presence off of your looks, you'll probably have to lead with sex, right? You'll probably have to lead with sex. And honestly, to get all these perks, you're probably gonna have to lead a little bit with sex. You'll have to flirt a little bit to kind of get the perks, you know what I'm saying? You might have some guys who will just give them to you, but to really get the perks of your looks, you're gonna have to flirt a little bit and do a little bit more, right? And especially on social media, if you're just trying to make it off your looks, you'll probably have to be a little bit more sexual. But if you're at this level and you actually do something on social media, like you have a talent or you do something, you're gonna explode. Guys are gonna really, really be drawn to you because it's like she's attractive and she can do this, right? So it's like they're gonna enjoy watching you do whatever you do. Now, as far as dating, you'll be able to, obviously, if you wanted to date unattractive men, which you probably won't want to, average men you'll be able to date and they're gonna pedestalize you. These are the guys that are gonna really like, you'll be able to play games with them so much, you'll be able to just play them. When you get to the attractive guys, now there's tiers to attractiveness, right? So I'll just say higher and lower. If you're dealing with like lower tier attractive guys, you might be able to play some games with them if they don't have like a good self-esteem or confidence about themselves. The ones that do are probably gonna be like most of the guys that you deal with that you actually like, you know what I'm saying? And they're gonna be the guys that you end up dating. Or maybe you don't, you know what I'm saying? Depends on the guy. But generally speaking, you're gonna have your way, right? You can choose when to like turn it up and then get all the perks and all the benefits of being attractive, or you can kind of just chill, you know what I'm saying? And you're still gonna get attention. Guys are still gonna check you out wherever you go. This is always gonna happen, especially if you have like a really nice body, then you might even get some of the same reactions as like a beautiful girl if you have a really, really nice body, because like I said, the body matters a lot for men. So, you know, you might get that real strong response wherever you go, depending on, you know, your body. But like overall, you know, you're gonna get looks. It's just not gonna be so intense all the time. That's all. Sometimes it'll be intense, but the majority of the time, you know, people will kind of subtly look at you and check you out, and you know, this type of stuff. And at this level, like when it comes to guys approaching you, you're gonna get approached probably more often than you know, any other girl really, because you're definitely attractive, but you're also approachable, right? So people feel like they can come up and talk to you, and you know, you're not intimidating. Now, sometimes this has to do with like size. Like if you're just a smaller girl, even if you're beautiful, this is still gonna happen because guys are gonna feel more comfortable coming up to a smaller girl. And this is where I say like there's a lot of different levels and a lot of different variables to this. But generally speaking, like guys will just not feel as comfortable coming up to like a beautiful girl, especially if she's like a taller, beautiful girl. Like guys will just not feel comfortable coming up to her. But like as an example, I had a friend who might be described as, you know, either cute or sexy or whatever. Guys liked her consistently. And she would go out with her friend and she would tell me like, oh, you know, my friend's really beautiful, but I get approached more than her. And I was like, let me see your friend. And she showed me the friend, and the friend was definitely better looking, closer to beautiful, right? I don't know if she was like all the way there. It was like one picture, two pictures, so I can't really tell, but her friend was definitely closer to beautiful. And I was like, okay, this makes sense because you seem approachable. Like my friend was attracted to these guys, but they felt like, okay, we can come up and talk to you. A lot of guys think beautiful women are going to be super standoffish and super mean, which in my last video I talked about how that's not the case. They're actually usually the sweeter ones, the more down to earth ones, because people are generally nice to them, so that's just generally their response back. That's been their experience in the world, is that people are generally, you know, obviously everybody's going to deal with a-holes and, you know, people that are mean to them, people that are jealous of them, right? They're gonna have those people in their lives as well, but most of their interactions are gonna be people being pleasant to them, you know. And I'm gonna transition into the beautiful women with that. Like most of your interactions people are gonna be pleasant to you. They're gonna be happy, you know, or nervous talking to you. Your looks are gonna come up almost all the time when you're talking to anybody, because people don't really know what else to say. That's the first thing on their mind. They can't really get it off their mind. So like, in a conversation, if you talk for, you know, long enough, your looks are gonna come up, unless it's like super brief. Even in super brief situations, it's probably gonna come up. Anywhere you go, you can kind of tell you're just taking up the attention in the room. The reaction is gonna be more extreme and more drastic, like everywhere you go. Maybe if you frequent a place long enough, people will get used to you. But if you're new to a place, you're gonna see that, like, especially the men are kind of just like frazzled and kind of, you know, average men are frazzled. It's almost like you're making a scene, you know what I'm saying? You can see the reaction. It's very clear that people are reacting to you. People are gonna tell you, like I said, you're gonna get compliments all the time. It'll be very, very clear that you won't have any question. Like every day, every other day, you're gonna get people telling you that you look good. Even when you dress down, you're probably gonna have the habit of like, I have to dress down in order to go out. You know what I'm saying? If I don't want to get attention, that'll be something that you think. Now, this also can happen if you just have a certain type of body. You know what I'm saying? If you have a certain type of body, this can also happen to you. But yeah, if you're just like, I gotta dress down and try to, you know, wear a hood so people don't really see you, acting like a celebrity. You know what I'm saying? Like you're basically a celebrity wherever you go. Then you're probably a beautiful woman, a gorgeous woman. You know what I'm saying? It will be very clear to you. Dating people, you'll be able to date whoever you want. You'll probably have, you know, rich men trying to talk to you all the time, reach out to you on social media. Talking about social media, you won't really have to lead with sex on social media. You can kind of just, you know, post yourself, living life, and you'll get a crazy male following. Like I said, this can also happen if you have a certain body type. So they're kind of in the same category. I keep saying this, but I do want to, you know, point out there is a difference. But yeah, it'll be just like very clear. You probably won't really have to work because somebody's either gonna want to take care of you. You know, guys are gonna want to date you. You know what I'm saying? Especially guys that don't have experience with women of your caliber, they're gonna always want to date you. Guys that do have experience, now that might be a different story because those are like top of the line guys. And at that point, the beauty doesn't have as much of an effect on them because they've dealt with beauty before, but most people haven't dealt with beauty like that. So they're gonna be more like, you know, in awe of you and want to date you, want to court you. And you'll just see from men, like, they really, really want you all the time, everywhere you go. It doesn't matter the race, it doesn't matter the age, you know what I'm saying? Nothing really matters at all. You know, nothing's really gonna change. It's gonna be consistent wherever you go. The reactions that you get, right? So that's a beautiful woman. I'm trying to think what else. Perks, you're gonna get perks, you know, without even really trying. You know, people are just gonna be really nice to you. Women may be jealous of you, but I feel like that happens more with pretty girls. I feel like with beautiful girls, women tend to appreciate it as well, right? It's like such a big difference between, you know, the average woman and her that there's not even really a reason to be jealous. It's just like almost like they understand. You know what I'm saying? They understand that, okay, this is a beautiful woman. I feel like girls who are pretty and sexy and cute, you know what I'm saying, specifically pretty and cute, will get more of the hate from girls, because it's like, well, she's not all that. You know what I'm saying? They'll point out some flaws. They'll do some, they'll have something that, they can hold on to be like, nah, this girl isn't all that. But when it's like just a beautiful girl, I feel like even women respect it, especially if she's beautiful, feminine. You know what I'm saying? Even if a woman does try to be mean at first, the femininity, the beauty is gonna take over, and it has an effect, like I said, on almost everybody except the men who deal with these women on a consistent basis. They're gonna be numb to it, or other beautiful women will probably be numb to it. But I feel like beautiful women kind of stick together and are nice to each other. But yeah, that's my breakdown of the tiers or levels of attractiveness for women. Like I said, it can be much more extensive than this, but this is generally how it will go, and you'll be able to tell. Like, if you're unattractive, it will be very clear. If you're absolutely gorgeous, it will be very clear. But it's more like the pretty and average girls. You might have a little bit of confusion about exactly where you are. But yeah, that hopefully this was helpful. So that's the video for today. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. Drop some more topics in the comment section. I got my coaching calls in the description box, Instagram in the description box. And you know what it is. It's mind over matter, mind over matter. Let's get it.